Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. I'm Suzy, working at the HR department at Sogeti. And I'm very glad that I get the opportunity today to meet all of you. Most of you young and talented students, and hopefully IT professionals in the near future. What I want to do today is just give you some highlights about Sogeti, so that you already know what Sogeti stands for. I'm not going into detail, we won't have time for that, but it won't be necessary. First element, Sogeti is a group. So we're an international company, and our activity is IT consultancy. That means that all that we do is IT, and only IT. We don't do anything else. Consultancy means that we use our IT expertise to develop services, solutions for our customers, to be able to improve their business requirements. So all people working at our company are IT consultants. For students who still have to decide where they're going to start working, I think it's quite important to evaluate whether you're someone to work in consultancy or internally within a company. Both have advantages and disadvantages. You should look for the option that suits best with your personality. An international group, well, that means Sogeti is present in 15 countries worldwide, in Europe, in the States, and in India. And we are about 20,000 employees within the group. Most of them IT professionals. I think about 90% of the people working at Sogeti are ITers. And of course, very important today is that on worldwide level and on local level, we have a very strong alliance with Microsoft, which already resulted in a large number of gold partnerships and some special awards for Sogeti on global and on local level. The same is valid for IBM, but I won't go into detail on that today. As IT is the core of our business, we have within our group a department that's really only working on R&D, the department called VINT, Vision, Inspiration, Navigation and Trends. The department is based in the Netherlands, and the people working there are permanently looking for new technological evolutions to evaluate them and to decide whether they can be interesting for us or for our customers. Related to that, several times a year, they write publications on interesting subjects to share them within the company, with our customers, but also with IT professionals who are interested in it. As you see, you can download those applications if you would be interested. The last one, the app effect, is the publication concerning the effect of mobile applications. Now let's come to the local level. Local level for us means Belux. So we're a company present in Belgium and Luxembourg. Of the 20,000 Sogeti professionals, about 1,100 work on Belux level. In Luxembourg, last year, we have been awarded as ICT Company of the Year, and we're really the first IT company in Luxembourg, and we're proud of that. In Belgium, we're one of the major players, and already 4 times in a row, we obtained the award of Top Employer. And we're waiting for the 5th one, which will be decided beginning of March. Important to know, because that's a specific aspect within our group, is the activity of software testing, which is really a specialization within Sogeti and for which we are known in Belgium and in Luxembourg. What we do can be grouped into 3 major domains, everything concerning application services, infrastructure services, and software testing. In those three domains, we cover a large range of technologies and business domains to cover all possible requests of our customers. But on top of that, we developed a number of expertise in which we want to get more and more known as one of the experts in the market. I'm just going to mention them within application services, business intelligence, application management and modernization, and collaboration and content management. Within infrastructure, cloud computing, desktop and unified communication, and the mainframe. And last but not least, testing and quality and compliance. This gives you an overview of references and customers we are working for. I think it's a nice list, spread over different sectors, the public sector, finance, and other private sectors. Within the public sector, for instance, we have a lot of missions also at the European institutions. Knowing that we have this list of references gives our consultants a lot of opportunity to work on very interesting projects at different customer sites. That brings us to the people at Sogeti. Well, I think your passion is IT. Mine has been one day, but today my passion has moved towards the side of people, and people are really very important within a consultancy company. The expertise is the expertise of our consultants. Now, I'm not going to convince you of the way we work with our people at Sogeti. I'm simply going to present you some of our colleagues working at Sogeti who will explain what they find about their work at Sogeti. Oei.
More than 1 million students have challenged.
And helpful the person was who interviewed me at the beginning in HR. I appreciated all the benefits that I could get here, and one thing that impressed me greatly was how Sogeti would have a career path for me, because at that time I didn't really know where I was going and what I should be doing, and they really had a clear way for me to go in the future, and they could offer me different trainings and different certifications, and so far my career has really grown, and I've learned so many new things, and my CV is definitely a lot better than it was when I first arrived. So.
Ik heb gekozen om voor Sogeti te werken op aanraden van een goede vriend voor mij, die op dat moment voor Sogeti werkte. Hij kon mij Sogeti ten warmste aanbevelen en ik kan dat nu nog doen aan iedereen. Sogeti is een heel open bedrijf. Het is een bedrijf in volle groei, wat mij enorm aansprak op dat moment en nog steeds.
Het belangrijkste voor mij bij Sogeti is dat ze inderdaad zeer professioneel zijn naar de klanten toe. Het is ook een bedrijf dat heel dicht bij zijn klant werkt en dat ook echt projecten uitvoert. Het is heel erg tastbaar wat men doet, waardoor je de klant echt kan helpen met zijn noden. Anderzijds zie je ook dat heel veel van de collega's en ook het bedrijf zelf, het hogere management, een zeer menselijk gezicht heeft naar zowel zijn klanten als naar de mensen die voor hen werken toe. Wat ervoor zorgt dat Sogeti echt wel een bedrijf is waar je een hele lange en leuke carrière kan uitbouwen.
Ik werk graag voor Sogeti ten eerste omdat de verloning eerlijk is, wat dat toch heel belangrijk is voor een werk, dat je namelijk goed betaald wordt. Omdat ik de dag graag begin en graag afsluit. De dag gaat snel voorbij. Ik kom steeds nieuwe uitdagingen tegen, wat heel interessant is. Ik heb een gevarieerde job. En ook, ik kan, als ik wil, altijd mijn carrière in een ander pad vervolgen. Het is zo'n groot bedrijf, je hebt echt keuzes genoeg om verschillende carrière-stappen te doen. Naar een technische functie, naar een managementfunctie. Ik zelf heb meer gekozen voor een technische richting.
I also found here at Sogeti, with different meetings that we would have, drinks and annual parties and so on, that you get more of a chance to meet all your colleagues, because as a consultant you obviously don't get a chance on a daily basis to meet your colleagues. And everybody has a general positive attitude. They're happy to be working here, which of course in return would give good service to the client because they're happy with their employer.
Ma plus belle expérience chez Sogeti, c'est le fait d'avoir pu accompagner, depuis les 5 dernières années, l'évolution d'une de ces solutions. Le Service Delivery Center, qui aujourd'hui délivre toutes les solutions de private cloud computing.
Het leukste vind ik eigenlijk de samenwerking met de collega's zelf. Om daar nu specifiek een voorbeeld uit te kiezen. Als je een probleem hebt, je krijgt een telefoon binnen, een call van iemand en je kunt het probleem niet oplossen, kan je onmiddellijk iemand bereid vinden om jou te helpen.
Ik denk als je op zoek bent naar een bedrijf waar je een heel lange carrière kan uitbouwen met heel veel toffe collega's. En waar je ook voldoende kansen krijgt om jezelf te ontwikkelen. Zowel binnen je carrière als door het volgen van de nodige trainingen. Dan moet je zeker eens een keertje komen aankloppen bij Sogeti. Want ik denk dat zij je dat allemaal kunnen bieden. En bovendien zit er ook nog heel veel afwisseling binnen het bedrijf. Omdat je zowel interne projecten kan uitvoeren. Ofwel bij klanten uit verschillende takken, bedrijfstakken aan de slag kan. Wat op zich ook natuurlijk zorgt voor heel veel afwisseling enerzijds. En anderzijds dat je ook je netwerk, je professioneel netwerk bijzonder snel kan uitbouwen.
I think that if you chose to work for Sogeti, you would not be disappointed. You would have the chance to work in the private or the public sector, which is really interesting. You would have the chance to learn new things and to get quality training and quality certifications under your belt and on your CV. You would also, I think, personally be very happy with how you're taken care of here.
J'ai un petit message à faire passer pour les jeunes candidats. Je pense que Sogeti peut vous apporter beaucoup en termes de challenge, en termes d'opportunités, en termes de compétences et qu'on peut faire une carrière long terme chez Sogeti.
I'm Amy Logan and I'm a Sogetiste.
Je suis Steve Wastels et je suis Sogetiste.
Okay. Sorry for the synchronization problem. I think it's a technical issue here, but I think you understood what they told you. If you want to know more about Sogeti, or if you want to meet other Sogeti colleagues, there are a number of them here on the first row. Contact them, pause at our booth, look at our website. If you pause at the booth, maybe you will win one of the 2 Xboxes you can get today. That's all, folks. Thanks for your attention.
Ja, ik ga het heel rap moeten doen. All right. I'm just going to take 5 or 6 minutes for the little presentation. My name is Wouter de Vink. I'm a Microsoft student partner from Ghent University. I'm going to show some frameworks that you can use for rich internet applications. This will be just a bird's eye overview really quickly. So RIA stands for Rich Internet Application, of course. Now, to build rich internet applications, you could use plugins like Flash and Silverlight, but more and more that's less of a good idea to do because, well, of the browser support, first of all, and second of all, also the support in mobile browsers. So on mobile devices, not a lot of plugins are supported. Instead, you can use HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript. So those are standards which are implemented in all those browsers. But unfortunately, that is hard work. If you have ever built a web application, you know that you have to test it in all those browsers. You have to change things so that it would work everywhere. And then there's the mobile browsers, which is even more work to do because of the smaller screen size. And also, JavaScript isn't as powerful as, for example, C# in Silverlight. So it might be harder to get things done. But luckily, there's a community out there, and they have build some frameworks, some tools that you can use to work faster, to target more browsers, to have more beautiful code and actually less code as well. So I'm going to show a couple of those. First of all, there's jQuery. Could I perhaps see some hands? Who has ever heard of jQuery? Most of you, or actually quite a lot of you, have heard of jQuery. So it's a very popular framework. You can do things like this. On the left, you see that $sign. That just means jQuery. You can write jQuery as well. Then there's a selector like you would use in CSS. So P means paragraph in HTML. The dot means class. Need is the name of the class. So we select all paragraphs that have the class need applied to it. And then we execute the rest of that command on it. So for example, show in an animated way, which is supported in jQuery. This is an overview of a couple of things you could do with jQuery. One of the most important ones is the AJAX support. You can just pull a page from the web with $.get. Actually, that would be quite a lot of work to do if you want to support all browsers with just plain JavaScript. Another part of jQuery is jQuery UI, which provides some UI components. This is a quick overview, but we don't really have time for that, so I'll skip over that. Some examples, a calendar control that you can use. You've probably seen that one quite often. And an accordion control, it's called. There's also some utilities in jQuery UI, like the position utility. Suppose you want to build something like that, having a sign-in dialog that is positioned under a button, but the page can change. For example, it's centered. Well, to calculate that position, jQuery can take care of that with a little piece of code. It's just 6 lines of code. There's also jQuery Mobile, which is the variant of jQuery UI, but for mobile devices. So they support quite a lot of platforms, including the most important ones, iOS, Android, BlackBerry, and so on. This is what it looks like, for example, on a tablet. So on a widescreen, it would look like this. In a mobile browser on a cell phone, it would be one column with those two things underneath each other. So it automatically adapts to the screen size. Then there's Bootstrap from Twitter. If you look at the UI of Twitter, you'll see that they have a lot of UI candy, so a lot of things that look very pretty. You can use some of that yourself for free. They just give it as a CSS file and some JavaScript files. You can just get it on GitHub and use it. No-code is very interesting as well. It's a JavaScript library, and they implement model view view model in JavaScript, so that design pattern. And they do things like dependency tracking. So, well, I don't have time for a demo, but in Silverlight you could do data binding. No-code brings that to HTML, so you can have a view model in JavaScript and data bind it to a view in HTML. So they have an attribute data bind that you can just apply to any HTML tag. And finally, there's Signal R. It's pronounced like that, Signal R, hence the photo. It does the opposite of AJAX. So on AJAX, you would, from a web page, pull another page from the server. But suppose you want to push something from the server to the client, to JavaScript. For example, in a chat application, you want to push messages to the client. You can't do that with AJAX, but Signal R lets you do that. This is an example of a chat application. It's just, I think, 9 lines of code, depending on how you count those lines. On the server, you would just implement a hub. A hub is just a class to which clients can connect. It implements one method, send a message. And then when that is executed, it calls all clients and sends that message to all those clients. So it's a group chat, actually. And on the clients, you can use JavaScript. They use jQuery, as you can see at the dollar sign. So they just connect, then implement that add message method. So they just put it in an HTML list. And then they also use the click attribute in jQuery to have a button and a text box to send a message. So they just call the send method on that hub at the left. Now, what you can see is that they use, for example, add message with or rather send with a small s, and in the C# code it's a capital S. That's because of the naming conventions in those two languages. So Signal R also takes care of that. And I can just show that really quickly. I have it running, for example, in Chrome and in IE. So let's just put that at the right side. I'll just refresh to make sure the application is running. And then I can say hi, and it should appear in both browsers. Should also work across the internet. And then I can answer hello. Click that broadcast button. And it just works with those 9 lines of code. I know that's an extremely fast overview of all those frameworks, but I'll put these slides on my blog, perhaps have some additional demos. So if there's one thing you can write down, it's blog.woterdeving.be. And I've put all the URLs of those frameworks on here as well. So thank you for your attention.